What is happening, guys? Welcome back. So we're doing another episode on the T5, and in this one we're going to be mopping up the last few little bits that we need to do before we can head away for a nice 11 days away in the van to just chill out, recharge and reset. In the last episode we had been building the bed system, which you showed you with my bodged seat covers on, which is in and looking great. I'm well happy with it. It's that to just sit out and chill on is really comfortable. You've got yourself a single bed there. If you're on your own, you don't need to pull the bed out or anything. You've got a nice single bed there to lay on. Pull it out to a double bed. Bed up here as well, meaning we've got a nice 4-berth camper, although we can only carry 2 people because we've only got 2 seat belts. But anyway, that was what we were doing in the last episode, which is now done, finished off and finalised. What we needed to move on to was sorting out all of the electrics, getting all the electrics on, getting all the electrics working, the hob in, getting the gas working, getting the fridge connected. And unfortunately, I may have already done most of it off camera. So I did some of it off camera because the electrics is very time consuming. It stresses me out a bit because I don't really know what I'm doing. I do, but I don't. And I want to get it right and I don't want to burn the van down. So I just decided that I was just going to do the electrics, get them in, and then show you them at the end. And then last night we managed to get the hob linked up as well. So we'll go around now, show you what I've done, explain to you the kit that I've used and how I've done it all. So under here is where all the electrics are. Move that piece, we can remove the front piece and then pull the bed out like this and then lift that flap up, and there's all the electrics. So I've not got round to making a proper latch for this yet, but nice little pony clip holds it up there, does a job for now. We'll make something a little bit more permanent, but for now that'll do. So the electrics are in here, and I've tried to do it as neatly as I can, although it has ended up turning into a bit of a mess anyway. So all the cables come through under the floor and through the wall behind this void here. There's a hole in the back that brings them into the underside of this lot. Let me see if I can remember what we've done. So you've got main battery power into a fuse, which goes to a switch, which then goes off and feeds the bus bar. You've got power to the 1000-watt Renogy inverter, which then goes off and powers a socket down there. And you've got a switch down here, which turns the inverter on and off. So it's a remote switch one. 12-volt fuse board here, which feeds lights, etc. I can't remember what we've got on it. The earth bus bar. This is coming in from the 240-volt charger. So when you're plugged in on hookup, this is powered up, which that plug then goes through the cable down there into the 240-volt charger, which is down the bottom, that comes up here through a fuse into here, which then charges the leisure battery, which is under here as well. And then this Renogy item here is the DC to DC charger. So that charges the battery while you're driving the van down the road. So one of these cables coming in is from the alternator. I think it's that one. This is your solar input. So this comes in from solar. So it charges your batteries from the solar panel. This is your battery, and then I've not read the instructions on that one but everything seems to be okay. The red lights, I think, are normal. That's the way it's been since it worked, and it's charging the battery, so I assume it's okay. BT2, this is a Bluetooth module for this, so you can see it all on your phone. Yeah, that's where the electrics is in there. As I showed you a moment ago, we've got the lights just here in the wall, which is on a switch. But as well as the switch, you've got this here, which is a dimmer. So it's wired in to a dimmer. Now, if you turn that dimmer all the way down, it turns the lights off. But I just like the fact that there is an actual switch in it as well. And then on this side, you've got these lights on this side are switched and dimmable as well on them. So the dimmer I've used is one of these. So this is off eBay. And when you take it to pieces, it basically breaks down into this. So you've got a little, when you pop that off, you can see, I can't get it off, in there, there's a little nut, which is a 10mm nut. That basically goes through there, clamps that down and bolts it down, and it breaks down into literally just this. So what I tend to do is get a little bit of board, something nice and thin but sturdy, and tape it to those wires, pretty much where that finger is, to stop those, because theirs are only soldered. Same this end, I tend to get a piece of, I've used laminate, that was over the edge of this, so that them wires are straight. Tape it to it so that those solder joints can't get broken. And then basically you match your wiring up. So if I can remember right there, you've got negative in, which is the negative from the van battery, just goes into there. You've got positive in, which comes from the switch. So your main power from the battery goes to the switch, then from the switch comes into in there, and then them two go off to positive and negative on your lights, meaning you can switch it and you can also dim the lights as well, meaning you don't have to have this horrible big bulky box in the way. You drill a hole in your plywood panel, push that through, do the little nut up, push the end on, and it's neat. Looking like that with all of my sawdust everywhere, and you flicker on and you've got dimmable lighting, so you can set the mood if you really want to. Ooh. So I want to say a massive thank you to Beyond Batteries for supplying me with the lithium ion battery, which I've spoken about in a previous video. We've gone for lithium just over AGM and lead acid because it's a better battery. They've supplied me with the Renogy stuff down there as well. Yeah, and great advice. I had a bit of trouble. Oh, there's a solar switch down there as well. I should have mentioned that. There's a solar switch where the solar comes in, it's into a switch as well. Can you tell that I'm not an electrician? I don't really know what I'm doing. And then obviously in a previous episode, we slung the solar panel on the roof as well. So yeah, we're basically fully off grid, sort of, if you like. But yeah, huge thank you to Beyond Batteries for supplying us with the items. Colin's super helpful, gave me loads of advice. So yeah, if you need anything, I'll put a link in the description to their Instagram, socials, website, all of that lot. Hit them up. Batteries are really good. Right, on to the next thing. So the next thing that we did was we got the gas working. So other than me needing to give it a good clean because everything is covered in dust, hob supplied by Transport HQ. And again, if you're going to buy anything from Transport HQ, Camper Glass, Navis Wheels, all of their companies, don't forget to use the code CHAMBERS5 to get 5% off your order. But on here we've got sink and we've also got hob. So sink is not plumbed in yet. The pump works, but we've not got bottles or anything yet. We've got no waste. I've been and bought the parts for that. That's a job to sort out in this episode. The gas, we obviously need a gas supply, which we've now got in here. How many bottles of things I've been out and bought. So we've got a gas bottle in here, which is in a gas locker, as it all should be, before anyone goes losing their minds over it. So we've got an 907, I believe it is, bottle in there, on a regulator, up to a bulkhead fitting in top of the box. Gas line goes all the way up around to the hob. And then if you turn the little knob, press the little button, it won't turn on because I turned the gas off. So we need to turn the gas on, which is a little knob on the end of the regulator. Press the little knob. And we are cooking on gas, he says, as it's turned off. There we go. Gas on. Gas on. Burner's working. Awesome. So that's in there, nice and neat. And like I say, I've been out and bought some water bottles, and we're gonna have to build a bit of a platform because these are bigger than I wanted them to be. But at the same time, big is better because we've got 10 litres of fresh water to wash up, brush your teeth, whatever. We need to make a bit of a platform to put them in there, but that is going to happen in a moment. So that's pretty much what has taken over the last couple of days trying to get things sorted out. In the bottom of the gas locker as well, we've obviously got what you're supposed to have, which is a dropout vent because gas is heavier than air. So if you have a leak, it will go through the vent into the to the outside. It's not going to come in your van and kill you up while you're asleep. Fridge is on and working, which we've shown and worked on in a previous episode. We done anything else? I think that's all that we've done over the past couple of days. So the list we've got to do before we go away is quite big, but hopefully not too time consuming. First thing we need to do is head out and sort a new key out because my key's been playing up and I've only got one key, so I wanted a spare key for the van. So I'm going to go over and see Daz from Woodhouse Carmen, Caps and Keys, to get a new key cut. So yeah, we'll go and see Daz. I'll see you in a bit. Right, come over. We've got Daz from Woodhouse and Carmen who's sorting us out with a new key. The original key works, it's been playing up since the day we got the van, and recently it has really been playing up, and I don't want to go away and the key play up and me not be able to get in the van. So yeah, we've got another key, and I'll just take 2 keys with me just in case. I have one hidden. You never know. That's it. Yeah. That's it. So yeah, Daz is going to sort us a new key out. Put a link in the description to his socials and everything. is a man in the know. Just some very nice big brake kits that we've just been looking at as well. So yeah, if you need anything, hit him up. Right, back from seeing Daz, and we've got ourselves a nice shiny new key that locks and unlocks the van, doing everything that it should do. Massive thank you to Darren for helping me out, getting me a new key before we go away, so that we've got a bit of security knowing that we're going to be okay. So what we need to do now is move on and start working through the list. I think the first thing we're going to do is get the water bottle situation sorted out. So because there's not a lot of room inside of the cupboard, we're going to have to stack the water bottles. So basically what we're going to do, that water bottle is going to come to the front there, and that's going to be the fresh water, so the pump will go in there. We're going to build a platform that's the same level as this at the back. Then the other water bottle is going to basically sit there on top of the other one, but further back, that the waste will go into. And what we've got are a couple of little, what are they called? Straps, that's the word, to strap them to the wall, so they're not going to move, not going to fall over, and we're not going to go get water everywhere. So find some wood, cut some bits out, get them fitted, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Right, before we get on any more with the van, I want to talk to you about today's video sponsor, me. So if you follow the channel for a while, you know that we've done the odd sporadic merch drop here and there. There's been the odd t-shirt design, the odd hoodie, mugs, few hats, things like that. I've always wanted to do a complete collection and never really known where to turn for it. Well, I've now found somewhere to turn for it, and we have just today launched the new merch range. Here's the website with them all on. There's so many different designs. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, tracksuits, shorts, mugs, slap stickers. There's a few more of the bits in design. I've got some swim shorts that I'm designing as well. The collection is all inspired by the beach, sunset, things like that. Talking of that, I've got one of the designs on now, the Sunset Seekers t-shirt. Very simple design, but one of my favourites. Yeah, we've changed up the way that we're doing it a bit. We've gone from physically ordering the stock and holding the stock ourselves to using a third-party company who basically print on demand. So you order through the website, the order then goes off to the other company, they print it on demand and send it out to you guys direct, meaning we can offer a load more different designs and a load of different colourways for each design, and we've not got to spend thousands and thousands of pounds having loads of stock, and more importantly, having stock sat here that might not sell or whatever for months and months on end. It's good for the environment, it's print on demand, we only make and produce what we want and what you guys have bought. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, help us out, go and grab a piece of merch. I'm so pleased with this collection. I've wanted to do this for quite a while. I want to take the DAC Industries YouTube merch line and turn it, or try and turn the DAC Industries into its own brand, if you like, a lifestyle brand, clothing brand, things like that. I've got so many other ideas in the pipeline and a few other bits that we're going to be dropping over the next few months. We've got a winter collection in the works already. So yeah, head over to dacind.com, grab yourself some merch just in time for your holiday. Massive thank you to me for sponsoring the video. Let's show you what we did with these water bottles. And there we go. Water bottles are now mounted in. So I built a little ledge that I've carpeted in there for that bottle to sit on. That bottle is sat on the floor. We made, you can just see behind it, we made some carpeted little pieces of 4mm that hold the strap to hold that in place. Same idea at the bottom down there as well. I've drilled these holes as tight as I can, which means screwing the lid on, you have to rotate the bottle instead of the cap, but that means it's sealed and it's nothing going to leak out of it. Top one is the same, it's all nice and tight in there, although that one you're going to have to remove, so we just can't fill these bottles all the way up, otherwise we'll lose it. I'm not so happy with the way they've done them. I'm going to come up with another solution that's a bit more watertight for driving purposes, but they're in, and now we've got running water in the van and it drains and we've got no leaks, and I think it's tidy enough. So that's another little bit sorted. We've got running water in the van, which is amazing. It's a big step. Something I want to sort out now is the doors rattling. So you got these latches on them which stop them opening while you're driving, but at the same time they're rattling and it's really annoying. So I think what I'm going to do for them is, we've got a piece of 4mm just here, 4mm plywood. We've lost the piece of carpet which is down here. We're going to bond a piece of carpet to the 4mm, and then we're going to screw them onto the backs of the cupboards hanging down to catch the keeper, to stop the door from going back too far, but also the carpet should stop the vibration and the noise, and the thickness should then lock the door into position. We'll try one and I'll show you. Right, we're slowly ticking the jobs off the list. We've now fitted the carpeted door closers, one up there. So now when you close the door, it locks and it holds the door in place. And it's not knocking and banging anymore. We've done all the doors, so they are now all sorted. Hopefully we're not gonna have any rattles when we're driving down the road. What I'm gonna do now is fit this bracket just here. So this is a bracket that drops the handbrake down because we're on a swivel. As you can see by the top of it there, the bolts for this and everything catches, and the swivel plate catch on top of the handbrake, damage it. I got the chair stuck the other day because I couldn't move it. So basically the handbrake bolts to the bottom of this bolts on in its place, drops the handbrake down, so it still works as it needs to, but the seat will swivel. So GoPro on, let's get this changed over. It's a simple little job. There it is then. Ignore the mess. We need to clean up. Look at this, an absolute state. But yeah, it's on, it works, it does what it needs to do. We've adjusted the handbrake up. Bottom there, that little L piece is what normally bolts on the top, and this bracket basically drops it down there. It does move it out a little bit more, but we've also got this cover to go on, which is wider than the original one, which slides on, clips in place like that. I'm not going to put it on yet because we need to take all this out to give it a good clean. So the next job on the list is something that doesn't really need doing, but I want to do it. I did it in my last van, in the first T5 that we built before YouTube was a thing. So when we pre-wired the van, we ran a cable from the leisure battery, or twin cable, so it's a red and black 2.5mm cable from the leisure battery that ran all the way under the floor, underneath, to be on the dash, basically where this underneath the steering column that's coiled up, cable tied up out of the way at the minute. What we're going to do is we're going to wire in an on, off, on switch. So on, off, on. What we're going to do with that is, in one side, we're going to bring a wire from this leisure battery into the switch. The centre wire will go off to the remote switch on the head unit, which basically turns the head unit on and off on the ignition. So on the one side of the switch, you'll have the normal wire that we're going to cut that comes from the ignition that feeds the head unit, that tells it to turn on and turn off. The other wire on the other side of this, so when you turn it on to 2, will be a electrical feed from this battery here, which when you flick it will mean that this will be giving it the remote signal. And the second wire that comes from here, we're going to use that as the permanent live feed for the head unit, meaning that when you press it onto 1, which will be the ignition switch, it will work as it normally would on the key, on, off, does what it needs to do when you turn the key on and off. But if you flick it over to 2 on this switch under the dashboard, it will mean that the entire stereo system, and I've also wired the sub into this already, that's been running off that since we started, will mean the entire stereo system is running off the leisure battery and not off the starter battery, meaning you can run it when you're on a campsite. The solar panel is going to keep it charged, and you're not going to go killing your starter battery, so you know you can start the van to drive off. So yeah, we'll put it in the workshop because it's trying to rain. We'll get that wired in, see if it works. Right, we've got it all working the way that we wanted it to. So we've got 2 buttons now, 2 switches wired in. So under here where the pedals are the 2 switches, you got these here, 1, 0, 2. So 0, 0, obviously there's nothing coming through them. Both pressed over to 2 means that the head unit works on the key. Turn the ignition on, head unit powers up. So that works on the key. Now you come down here, flick these switches both over to 1, and the head unit is on, but the key isn't in the ignition. So pressed onto 2 is feed from the starter battery through the ignition switch as it would normally work on the key as normal. Both the permanent live feed and the switch live feed, or the ignition live feed, are through the 2 switches. So one's the permanent live, one's the switch live. On the other side of the switch, when you press it to 1, I think it is, that means that then both of them are running from the house battery, as we'll call it, that is in the back of the van. So you flick both of them over and both feeds are then running off that battery. The earths are all common, they're all linked because we're obviously earthed the house battery and the original van battery is earthed to the chassis of the vehicle. So the earths are common, so we're just switching the lives so that both lives are from either the house battery or both lives are from the starter battery. Now I've done a little drawing, which isn't the best, but I think it shows you what I've done. Channeling my inner Neil Buchanan, who remembers that, what a program that was. So we've got starter battery here, you've got the house battery, we'll call it here, which is the leisure battery, you've got the head unit and the 2 switches. So we've got basically a 12 volt feed coming from that into one side of this switch, then that feed then goes off to the head unit, but we've also got the starter coming in to this side as well. So like I say, flick it onto 2 and flick it onto 2, the whole system's going to be running from the starter, flick it onto 1, flick it onto 1, the whole system is going to be running from the house battery. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it's right. It worked on the last van that I did it on and I never had a problem with it. And Aaron, who's got the van now, has never told me he's had a problem with it and it still works. We've had this on, we've had this playing, we've had this working on both ways a few times this morning. Seems all right. So yeah, that is another little job ticked off the list. Like I say, not really the most important thing in the world, but we've also ran a wire to the back of the van that will give us power for a projector if we want one, and we've also got a 3.5mm jack, like a cable for you that links the projector to the head unit. So if you want, you could have a projector on, you could have surround sound through the stereo system if you really wanted to. And obviously the head unit's Bluetooth as well, so we can link my laptop, my phone or whatever to it, have the laptop on the side and have some good sound while we're watching something on the internet. So that is that job done. I think we've got 2 more jobs, I think, that I want to get done before we head out. One of them is the arch liner. So when I got the van, the arch liner was damaged and it got ripped off and I've just taped the holes up. But then me forcing insulation in it has pushed the insulation out, pushed the tape off. So I need to sort and put an arch liner in. But the thing we're going to do now is, one of the things I would say is it's up high on the list, shall we say, of important things to have on one of these vans if you're going to be camping in them, and that is wind deflectors. So the reason that I think that having wind deflectors is a good idea is because when you're camping, your wind deflector's on and it comes down, covers probably about 30-40mm of the window. That then means you can have that window 30 or 40mm open for airflow. No one from the outside looking at it will know that that window's open for security reasons, and if it rains, the inside of the van's not going to get wet. So we'll get those fitted on now. I've gone for Heko ones, which are the ones that I had the last time. They're from memory, super simple to fit. You've got some little clips, you push the wind deflector up into the hole with a clip, do the window up, and it all sort of holds itself in place. There'll be a better video than this because I'm really not the best at describing how to do things and doing them and filming them on my own. So we'll have a go at getting these fit, get the arch liner done, and we can start thinking about packing the van. It goes into the channel where the window itself goes, like that. Bring your window up. Now I fit these with, they've got a little clippy bit, I fit them away from the deflector to the rubber of the van. Don't know if that's right or not, that's the way that we do it. And you just bring the window up with that on. That holds it in. Now I'll just get a screwdriver and push it up a bit further. You're supposed to put 2 on it, but I've only got 1 and I've ordered some more. That's it, literally a minute mod. There we go. The van is done and ready. We've got everything done on the list that we wanted to get done on the van before we go away. I've given it a damn good clean out, although it might not look it, it's getting dirty again. We've been through, tested the heater, fridge is on, getting nice and cold. We've got to fill the water up in the morning and sort of toilet out in the morning as well. Throw some clothes in, but we started filling other bits up. We've got some cutlery and some plates and things in here ready to, yeah, head out for, I think we're away for about, or I'm away for about 10 days, just to get away, switch off, reset, recharge. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. The first weekend, I'm with, well, Lowdown Transporters taking over a campsite at Woodhouse. I think there's 80 vans taking over this one campsite, so that's going to be a mega weekend, seeing some old friends and just catching up with everyone. It's going to be really, really good. And then the week after, just mooching about, cruising around down south, taking each day as it comes, seeing where we end up. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one, guys. Thank you all so much for watching the channel, following along and watching me do all this stuff to these vehicles. I really, really appreciate it. So guys, until next time, enjoy.